Good friends, the world has been going through a horrific time lately. Russia attacking Ukraine, trying to destroy it. And just recently, Hamas attacking Israel, killing over 1,000 innocent people, some soldiers, and then Israel retaliating and killing well over 1,000 Hamas members and Palestinians who happen to live in the Gaza Strip. It made me think of the idea of a limited God, and I thought I would stop down on that as a possible explanation that believers might think about. You know well that I myself have given up that position. So we'll start with Genesis 1:1, what the Hebrews call Bereshit, the very beginning, which starts with the creation of the universe. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, v'haaretz hayata tohu vavohu, v'choshech al pnei ha'am. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was void and empty, with darkness upon the face of the deep. An imperfect creation by an imperfect divinity, understood probably by a priestly member of the faith who tries to sense what God was like. And for him, the divinity is ruach, breath, a spirit, not a physical being. And that spirit, that breath, hovered over this imperfect thing and attempted to make it better. A position very like current physical cosmology. What was before the beginning? Nothing. And then, in a realm even vastly emptier than nothing, because you and I tend to think that nothing is just space and time, but a realm with no space, no time, that extended for so non-long that something happened, a beginning. In physics, it's called a singularity. Something happened that produced the Big Bang. We don't know the singularity in physics. And we don't know what was before the beginning. In Bereshit, Genesis 1:1. Fascinating. And this great proto-scientist, I want to call him, who writes this little section of the Bible, then says, God first went about creating the physical universe and trying to make it better. And the same happens in physics without, quote, trying. It's a series of accidents that converge on each other and then involve causative events. But initially, it's a pure accident. Was God before the beginning? In this text, it is not the case. It's the beginning, a singularity. My goodness gracious. And then this divinity undertakes to improve things. Let there be light, God says, and there was light. And here we have to come up with the realization that God speaking, let there be light, is a metaphor. There can't be the word light before there is light. So what we have, in fact, is the conceptualization by the divinity of light. And then, amazingly, the universe begins to be organized. God creates the sun and the moon, the first to cast light upon the earth, the second to illuminate in a minor way the night. My goodness gracious. And then this divinity, this spirit, this breath begins to organize things on the world, separating the water from the land, things that in fact appear to have happened on earth. Initially, the thought is now the earth didn't have water. It crashed into the earth. We'll let that one go and talk about it another time. But this divinity organizes the non-living world. And having separated the sea from the land, creates plants and animals. Where? In the sea. Exactly as we now think in a Darwinian sense. And then those sea creatures begin to evolve and they turn into amphibians that can live both in the water and on the land. It's the Darwinian sequence. With this difference, he thinks also that there were birds. And the reason he thinks there were birds is that the heavens are water, just like we have in the sea, in his mind. You say, well, that's silly. Well, not really. You look up and it's blue, and then it rains. There's water up there. And so in his mind, there are birds that fly through the water up there. Well, we know differently, but we can understand the small mistake. In the Christian Bible, the New Testament, John begins with, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Then goes off into the story of Jesus, and we don't have to go down that street. But the idea that God is a creative force, the Word was God. Not let there be light, but the conception of light which produces it, and so on. And this spiritual divinity, having gotten creatures out of the sea, able to be in both, comes up with the idea of land animals, presumably reptiles that precede mammals, and eventually creates all the mammals, all the plants on land, and last of all, creates humanity. And here too, amazingly, he has a conception of the equality between the male and the female. Writing hundreds of years before the time of Jesus, he has the conception of male and female as equals. And here's how he goes about trying to explain that. Last of all, God created man, he writes, just as we in the past thought man was a word for all humanity. He finds that unacceptable. So God created man, man and woman, he created him. Trying to get both together. Created him won't do. Man and woman, he created them. An astonishingly open, positive sense of sexual equality on the part of this brilliant proto-scientist and moral giant. Dear friends, that God is trying to deal with an imperfect world and make it better, and has the need of humanity also to work on that imperfect world and try to make it better in however small a way we can to help make things better. We can hope that Ukraine ends up free of Russia's invasion and murderousness. And we can hope that the war now between Israel and Hamas can lead in some way to a more peaceful arrangement between Israel and the Arab population that lives in its land. We can hope that an arrangement develops in which the Palestinians end up with their own homeland, in which Gaza becomes part of a Palestinian state at peace with Israel. What a wonderful development that would be. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you next time.